That's a little tidbit we haven't told anyone, but and I'll tell you that now. And
you're the first person to point that out.
You're the first one to say it. Whether others noticed it, you're the first one to say it. That makes me happy.
Wow, lucky me.
반갑습니다. 이승국입니다. 드디어 디즈니 투어의 마지막 영상까지 왔어요. 앞선 영상 안 보신 분들은 어서 가서 디즈니 투어 재생 목록 정주행하고 오시고요. 지난 영상에서 예고드렸던 대로 겨울왕국 2의 두 감독님과 제작자님, 그리고 다른 나라의 인플루언서 분들과 함께했던 라운드 테이블 영상입니다. 아, 근데 이 자리에는 CGV 관계자분들도 동석하셨거든요. 그분들께서 던지신 알찬 질문들은 현재 업로드되어 있는 CGV 유튜브 채널에서 확인하실 수 있으니까요. 영상을 다 보신 후에는 CGV 채널의 영상도 참고해 보시길 추천드립니다. 그럼 구독하고 알람 설정은 이미 다 하셨을 테니까 바로 영상 시작합니다.
First of all, hello. Okay, we'll break the ice.
Yeah, let me just break the ice. I always had this personal question, like the first instrument of Frozen was a global hit, but I know that filmmakers listen to the music and watch the movie over and over until you really get sick of it, until it's released. So I understand that the filmmakers finally get free of their music and videos when it's released, but the Frozen one was so big that I'm sure that you guys had to listen to the Let It Go more than you were making it. So did you ever hated the music after the especially when you had kids, you have to listen to it over and over again. So have you ever found yourself, I'm done with this song?
I think I have to say there's a little bit to me where it's like you have a kid and everyone wants to hear your kid sing over and over again. You're just like, okay, thank you. Because the film's sort of our baby and the songs and the characters. So for us, I mean, I don't put it on all the time
I remember
anymore.
when the movie came out.
I'm busy.
For us, YouTube was really just coming into its own.
Yeah.
And it was a great way for us to watch how the world was reacting to the movie. And we were passing those videos around for months and months, it seemed. It was exciting for us.
And you'd hear it, and then you'd see someone you'd be talking to, you didn't know each other. They didn't know that you had anything to do with Frozen there. They'd have Let It Go, they handmade on their necklace, and you'd just be like, but you say nothing, you know. And then you see kids, you know, with their back, and singing, running, and it was just like, you don't tire that. You're so overwhelmed.
One of my favorite moments, I was driving in my hometown, and there was a guy my age driving down the street with his convertible top down, and Let It Go was blaring, and he was singing along with it. And I just went, okay. So it was more of those fun moments, you know. I don't think we ever got sick of it. It was always seeing how people would interpret it, and I love that.
Plus, we've heard so many stories from individuals about how the movie or that song affected them on a personal level that it's really something special.
That's great.
Hi, I'm Nadi and she's Nara, and we're sisters from Malaysia. And we just like to take this opportunity to say congrats on the big success of Frozen and for the upcoming Frozen 2. We love the Frozen so much. I even sang the Love is an Open Door for our wedding song. We're like Frozen enthusiasts. We saw the Frozen 2 trailer, right? The first one was more like light-hearted, more more cheerful. So we wanted to say if the Frozen 2 gonna be a bit different. Is it gonna be more emotional in this one?
I think tonally you'll actually see them pretty close together, and there's a lot of humor. We've never shied from emotion though. We won't. I think we go deeper. They mature a bit, but the characters are funny. Anna's funny, even not just Olaf. Same. She's the same. So it's still them. But I think what we're not afraid of is, and we're excited to do, is show the mystery part. That's the new part. It is a mystery, and it's a musical adventure. And I think getting to show the music as well, that we're able to do that, I think is exciting.
Thank you.
Okay, hello. Can
Yeah.
my turn? Hello, I'm from Indonesia. My name is Devi, and I'm an actress in Indonesia, and I really love your movie. Congratulations, and I hope this movie will be big too, like the one before. So the one I really want to ask, what is the most challenging part for you throughout the process of this film?
There's certainly a lot of challenges,
Yeah.
but I think, like most of our films, story is the biggest challenge, and obviously writing the story is part of that, and that's not an easy process, and we spend a great deal of time on that, and really just till a couple months ago.
A month ago.
We were still making
It was
changes.
supposed to be a couple months ago, but we kept going.
And I think, and then there are technical challenges that we had too. There's, we threw a lot of things at our artists, and some new technology, like creating the water horse, the knock,
That
Oh,
one,
horse
I
made of
really
water.
love it. Yeah.
And a lot of the other spirits, you know, are like the wind and other things. You're like, those are things that our character animators had to work very closely with our effects animators, because they both had to create the performance. So there was a lot of back and forth, and that was a challenge unto itself. So we didn't even really see some of the last effects until just a few weeks ago, or some of the wind spirit. And finally, when you see them fully lit and in color, you go, oh wow.
Yeah.
So even we were impressed by how they ended
One
up.
of the shots recently, we were talking, it's about 2.5 seconds long. It took one computer and 130 hours just to render it. And that's just one. So we had, for this final scene that we hadn't seen till this couple weeks ago, we had to finish everything else first. So every computer and
We actually didn't have enough
we had
computers
to
in the
borrow,
building.
we had to borrow computers.
Compute on the cloud.
Yeah, to finish rendering the movie. So it is the most visually complex film we've ever done. So it was that.
Yes.
Hi, sir. I'm Terrence. I'm from Singapore. First of all, congratulations on completing the film really soon. We're all looking forward to it. And I think a lot of my nieces, my friends' kids are all that just can't wait for November to come. So I got two questions. The first question is, maybe you could share with us why would you think we have to watch this on the big screen in the cinemas?
Oh wow, on the big screen. Well, it's I think the epic scale of it. You really need to see it on the big screen. We look at it on monitors sometimes, and we're just sort of approving things. But when we finally see it on the big screen, even we go, wow, this is really incredible. So it's the scale. I think it's the scale. The colors are gorgeous. Once again, and then you're going to have the sound. You're going to have the music, which is. There's nothing like hearing it in a theater with those great speakers and everything, and just being surrounded by that.
We're doing the sound mix now. That's the last piece, and we're in the big room, and we're like, oh, I want to feel it in my seat, and because it's so you feel the whole movie when it's in theaters. That's what I
think
love.
too. Like the first movie, we take the audience hopefully through a range of emotions, and in the first movie, people then wanted to bring their friends, bring other family members back to the theater to see it again, because you want to experience that with a group of people. And I think this is just one of those films that feels good. Plus, it's hard to do a sing-along just at home.
Yes. So my second question, do we have to wait 6 years for the
Well, we haven't. Vacation first. Who knows? Who knows?
We like to think we're done, but we said that on the first one, so I don't know. All I can say is, ask us in a year.
And I have another question. Generally, it is known that making a sequel is really tricky production, because you will never know which elements would be welcomed by the audience and which will not be welcomed by them. So what kind of elements from the Frozen 1 did you try to bring back again, and what kind of elements did you try to change or remove from the Frozen 1?
I think when you meet our characters, it's connecting you to them, the ones you love and know. Even when we bring the little girls back in the prologue, it's the very same night they were playing downstairs, but it's earlier. It's earlier in the night. That's a little tidbit we haven't told anyone, but and I'll tell you that now. And there's that you're like, oh, we're back with them, and and you will see Arendelle and connect it. But the fall is there, so you know something's different. Where the seasonal different tells you something right away. But I think the permission to go on a bigger journey and outside of Arendelle to lands you've never seen before. I think, and I'd like to think the characters, as they're discovering it and you're doing it with them, it makes you ready for it too, is what I hope. So we didn't want to shy away from the new, and Elsa's powers are very different in fall in terms of how they look, but also her powers, the evolution of her powers through this film are very different. But you'll know them from the Elsa you know, and then you'll get to go on the journey as she discovers more about them. So I think that's the key for us.
We were also inspired. A lot of things were inspired by our own lives and our own personalities, but we all have young, they're not even children anymore, teenagers and then and children in their 20s, young adults, that were inspired by their journey. And we looked at Anna, Elsa, Kristoff, all sort of like at the end of Frozen 1, it's almost like they just graduated college. So now it's like, what's next? What's next for them? It's like, what are they going to do in the world? What are they going to do with their lives? Where do they really fit in? And that's where we wanted to take our characters. We're like, let's let them, they don't need to stay right here. They're done with college. Now let's let them grow. Let's see.
Go out in the world.
Go out in the world, into the unknown, where, what are they going to find out there? And that's what excited us.
And it does feel like Frozen 1 and Frozen 2 together
Yeah.
feel like one complete story. I love the way you've tied it back to the first movie. So even back to your question, I think you'll take comfort in the fact that it always feels like it was planned as one journey.
Yeah, I can feel that because we had this sound.
I was wondering if people would pick up on that.
I loved it.
You're the first person to point that
You're the
out.
first one to say it.
I thought that
Whether
was
others
cool.
noticed it, you're the first one to say it. That makes me happy.
Lucky me.
So was it difficult to shift the settings from like icy cold to autumn or fall, we call it? And why autumn, not spring or summer?
Well, autumn was for us, we wanted to go with a different color palette just to sort of separate it from Frozen 1. We always liked the fact that if you looked at one frame of Frozen 1, you could go, I know what that's from.
Yeah.
We want you to do the same in Frozen 2. You'll see a different color palette in Frozen 2. But really to support the story was more than anything, and that was as our characters are maturing and growing older and life gets maybe a little rockier, a little tougher sometimes. We wanted to sort of do that with the color palette and that sort of the rich autumn. I always look at autumn as kind of, the years starting to mature also. Summer's this great, you're young, you're in your 20s, now you're starting to mature a little bit in the autumn. So it seemed to fit and support the story too.
And very much the concept of fall representing change, autumn representing change, which is a very important theme in the film. But we did say life also, they came from a world where most of Frozen 1 was a lot of snow and softer colors, and that as you grow up, life gets grittier, and there's many different colors, but there's also, the earth is, it's like life is more visceral, we said. So we wanted richer, you'll feel the soil, you'll feel the temperature shift, and when we went to Norway and Iceland, we went in the fall, and it was also, you felt like you were part of a fairy tale then. So I think they all worked together for us.
Right after Frozen 1, there was a rumor that the two sisters from the Frozen and one of your past books, hero Tarzan, is actually brothers and sisters. And you told one of the reporters that in your mind they are brothers and sisters.
You don't want to know
We will
what's in
get
my
to see
mind.
that.
No
So
one
it's
else
just
is there.
unofficial. It's only in your head. We will get to see something in Frozen 2.
In an interview, I also said, because I did a movie called Surf's Up that has surfing penguins in it. And I said to the reporter, in my mind, they all live in one world, On one island are the surfing penguins, is it so?
That's going to be the quote.
Yes, please don't. No, it's not true. I
He
made
was
it up.
joking.
I made up one day. I was joking. I was kidding with Jen. Even she went,
I said, well, look out, that's what everyone's going to
That's-
believe.
And I said it once on Reddit, and that's when it exploded. I apologize.
That's the beauty of the internet.
It's not true.
Okay.
Clever.
Thank you for the answer. And I have another question for Jennifer. As far as I know, that the first Frozen was your first role as a director in Disney Studio. So, what kind of experience that you had from the first installment helped you making the second one?
Yeah, I think the best thing for me, I had come from writing and directing in live action, and I was nervous when I first started in animation about what would I have to offer seasoned animators, and luckily had Chris. But I walked in the rooms, and the thing I learned then that I brought to this was the animators don't need to tell them how to do what they do. In fact, they don't want you to, because that's the joy. But they want you to express what are the characters feeling, what's the subtext, what's deeper underneath it, what is the why of this very moment, and that, as the writer particularly, but also it could translate. And I think I had been an art director in book publishing first, so that I love the colors and the composition. So those things were more organic for me. But I approached the second one the same way, knowing make sure I think when we would issue to animation or technology, we stayed together and we really worked to express what's going on underneath it all. And that was not something we were always doing. So I think for me, it made me feel like I found my comfort zone. And I've loved animation since, it's the first thing I experienced, first stories I experienced with Disney. And so I've been pretty immersed in it. So just getting to work with these artists, I'm definitely the one that's going, oh my God, I love it. So I have that.
If you could describe Frozen 2 in one word, what would it be? One word. Each one of you. Yeah.
Perseverance.
Perseverance. Oh, that's a good one.
Perseverance. That's a good one.
I'm trying to think of one. Perseverance is the right word, because I was like, never give up. Family.
Okay.
I would say emotional.
Emotional.
Because the Let It Go and Love Is an Open Door was such big hit songs, everybody's actually talking about new songs, 7 new songs.
Yeah.
But from the trailer, we can really see that it's not only about the songs, it's more about the different theme and different, even darker themes than the Frozen one. And about the theme, actually, Kristen Bell, who plays Anna, said in one of the interviews that it explores some themes still haven't been explored in any animated movie. Mm-hmm. So, what kind of theme are you going to explore in this movie? Can you give us a little hint?
We can't talk about it. I think part of what we talked about with Frozen 1 and Frozen 2 together is there's sort of themes. You look at Toy Story, and it does a lot always to wrestle with the idea of the importance of being a toy and what that means to the person who plays, and that relevance. And so there are themes that you continue through films, and we always look at fear versus love. And on Frozen 1, it was really through the lens of being different. And for Frozen 2, it's through the lens of change. But it's still fear versus love, afraid of the unknown, afraid of change. Change comes for you whether you like it or not. The concept of how your relationships change as you go through things in life, that's really where we're going, but it all involves the same thing, which is most importantly the power of love. But I think for Kristen Bell, she was extraordinary to work with, and she looked at Anna's journey as how does Anna mature, what is the greatest fear for Anna, what is the greatest challenge for Anna. And so I think where we go with Anna's character, I'm very proud of her. And I think she's alluding to that, so I can't say any more except, and I know Do the Next Right Thing you heard a little bit of, and that song really came about from about this journey, and Kristen was really connected to that song. So that's a hint, maybe.
Okay.
I'm guessing that that's what she means, because I know a little more than I can say. So.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
네, 그렇게 인터뷰를 마쳤다는 소식입니다. 아까 말씀드렸던 대로 찐 풀 영상 감상을 완성하시려면 CGV 유튜브 채널도 참고해보세요. 그리고 이렇게 디즈니 투어가 모두 끝났습니다. 어렸을 때부터 동경해오던 회사에 가서 짧은 시간이었지만 정말 강렬하게 이것저것 다 하고 올 수 있는 자리를 마련해 주셨던 디즈니 측에 감사드리며 저는 조금만 쉬고 조만간 올라올 다른 영상으로 인사드리도록 하겠습니다. 영상 처음 보신 분들은 구독과 알람 설정, 좋아요와 댓글 남겨주시길 부탁드리고요. 저는 진짜 갑니다. 감사합니다. 바이바이.